unavailable.
Hi everybody, it's Sam. Today is, I think, the 4th.
Notification music stop 1 clock 4 p.m. Monday, 2/4/20.
Yep. Today's the 4th, February 2019.
My move unknown.
So I haven't done a video in a little while. And so I wanted to talk about what's been going on with me. I know I've done a ton of videos around being an empath and how that is, and all the things I've been learning, like spiritually, over the past months. And it's been a way to make sense of really all of the sensory disturbed stuff that's been happening in my brain since I had the big panic attacks. That's really what it's been, is a way to try to make sense of it. And I think I trust my friends that were working with me, very, very, very much. I trust them. They have saved my life. But at the same time, the spirituality aspect, any kind of religious spiritual thing, has not been my thing at all. It's just nothing that it just hasn't been part of my life. I just never believed in it. I believe other people believe in it and they get a lot. That's fine, but it's just never been a thing for me. So, when she was telling me, I'm psychically gifted and medium gifted and everything. I mean, who doesn't want to be told they're gifted? Especially if you've been dealing with depression and anxiety and are sitting in a mental health facility for years. I mean, who doesn't want to be told you have these special talents? And for her, those things are absolutely true for her, and she does amazing things, healing and teaching, and she has an amazing, peaceful life, and so she is a role model to me, regardless of what is going on in my head. I mean, she's a great person, and I love her. And so, who wouldn't want to be like her? And I probably can still be like her, even if I don't have these abilities. I've known her before this, and I've just admired her, peace and just how she goes through life. But anyways, so I've been trying to use that as a way to make sense, because, when I first saw Dr. Cleary, when we thought it might be a dissociative disorder of some kind, and he said no, and I was so focused on that, and you better write something down and everything else, and he said no, and he didn't do much with my medication except raise my abuse bar. And then time went by, and he was like, you need to go to therapy. And then of course staff here did nothing to help with therapy, getting me and finding any kind of therapy for me. All these places are closed. I mean, not closed, full, because there's so few resources for people on Medicaid. They're just like, you need to find it. Like, we'll role play how you can make a phone call. So I know how to make a phone call. You have to find it yourself. And it's like, fine. So my mom had to try to find therapy, and I found the Awakening Center, which was a really great place. But by the time I had found the Awakening Center, it had been a few months later. And so with those few months, I had been talking to this friend about what was going on, and she was giving me the reference of, this is a spiritual experience, a psychic, you have these gifts and these abilities and everything else like that. And so then I was doing that, and so by the time I started working with the therapist and seeing her, I kind of felt like I had found my way a little bit in that world of, this is psychic, this is cool, this is fine. I know how to work with these different people, I guess, that are around me, these different spirits. And I also got a good feeling from her, because she did see me go into these states, that now I believe the spirits were taking me over, coming into my body. It wasn't anything from inside of me. And she said, well, if that's the case, we can work with it, it's fine, which was a huge relief, because I'd been so invalidated and gotten no help. So that was a huge thing. I don't know what she would have done if I'd come to her and put it the way that I feel like it is at its most basic level right now. I don't know. But what my friend did, which was life-saving, was she taught me how to ignore the darker people or beings or whatever that would come around me. And because that was the original problem, that they would be talking to me, always around and touching me and sticking themselves to me and coming into my body and everything else like that. And I had to stand up to them and be like, no, this is my body and like I am in charge, and which is actually what people learn to do with dealing with alternate reality stuff from the mental health side of things. So that saved my life. So I've kept going and doing different healing things for myself, and has its ups and downs. But it's like every month that goes by, it's like, okay, I've gotten so much better on it. I have, and I can't, thank this person enough. But it's like, this is real. I mean, like, this is staying with me. This isn't a one-off thing. This isn't something that's just going away. I'm going to have to deal with this and put this in some perspective in my life for long term. Or at least, this is not going to go away, and I need to make sense of it for me, which I've always made sense of things. First and foremost is, mental health related, because I have a degree, and I'm also just generally, curious and I guess logical about things, and the brain and whatever, and that's the first place that I go. And unfortunately, no one had given me any help on that ever, really. And so that's how I'd ended up on the spiritual end of it. But I don't think I would have ended up on that end if people had given me answers beforehand. So when I was, the other night, I was like, well, this spiritual stuff is great, but do I want to be spiritual? Like, I don't, that isn't something that I've chosen to want to do. So this thing is kind of forcing itself on me in that aspect of things, and I don't like that. I don't like any kind of outside being. I'm not saying the woman was. I'm saying these, whatever they are, is trying to force a spirituality thing on me that I don't believe, that I never believed in, that I never would have chosen, and that I find that really invasive. And it's the same with the mental health. I mean, I'm feeling like that's the problem. I feel like these outside beings are interfering with me all the time. And so, to just put it in its basic parts, I want to tell this, because I'm like, this isn't, when I really step back and look at it, and everyone has their beliefs in that, but to me, I'm like, I know myself for 30 years that I never had anything like this happening to me. And I've known what depression feels like to me and anxiety feels like to me, and I've understood it. And if this is going to be a thing around my mental illness, then that's fine, but I need to understand it. And people need to know I'm dealing with it. Not just one person, who's amazing, but she's across the country, and not just me feeling like I'm being brushed aside by staff here. And so then I'm, the two people that really know is her, my friend, across the country, and Jess. And Jess has no perspective on this really at all, except I love you and I hope I hope you're okay. And my friend Robbie, he knows. He doesn't know every day on it, but he knows some things. And that's it. I mean, I've talked to staff. I've told them I have altered perceptions. And they're like, well, if you know that it's not real, you're okay. And I'm like, I know that it's not real, but it's real. Hey!
Hey, sorry.
That's okay. Do we have to go to meds right now?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, talking about going to the doctor tomorrow on my video. And how much I love you. So yeah, I mean, that was their thoughts. It was like, well, just because, it's not real, and so it's fine. And it's like, no, it's not, and I don't put too much investment in opening up to staff, because they told me, that they don't put too much investment in really creating a relationship, healthy, trustworthy relationship with me / residents here. I mean, they put that out straight to me 2 weeks into this, and even if I wasn't told that, my sense on what I've been through with unhealthy relationships and people not really getting me is so strong that I would have sensed it anyways. I mean, so many of them are just here for the paycheck or just totally zoned out, and they're not about really getting to know you and sitting with you and, there for you. And, I know some people that have that relationship. They have to work to keep the staff interested and not, saying, just stupid things like these staff do and condescending. So I haven't put much into reaching out because they're, and it's just a fake thing. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to listen to you tell me to go write in my journal and take a bath on every issue I have or whatever, or just say whatever out of a textbook that you think is a good idea if you're not going to sit and have an honest conversation with me and really get me. I don't want a list of coping skills. I want to feel connected to someone. That's how I'm going to get better. And that's how I got better at Albany Care, because I had Jonathan, and then I had other staff really working with me on it, and that he helped work with me. And I think if we were allowed to change caseworkers, maybe I would have a better time. I don't know. It just seems like my whole thing and what they told me was that because they have, less people and, caseworkers that have less client load, that there would be more time. And that really isn't the case because they're doing the crisis unit thing and running around, and some of them don't even come into their office. Like Lakeisha. She's like never around. So I haven't put much into...
She's on vacation.
At the moment she's on vacation. Well, she hasn't had that much vacations. She spent her...
December.
Oh, I know. She was gone for like 2 months, wasn't she? Yeah, and she didn't talk to us for like 2 months. And then the last session we had, she told both of us about her flight being canceled because of the cold. And we couldn't talk about anything else. It was horrible. But anyways, so I haven't talked to them. I don't really talk, they gave me their, I'm not going to sit and continue to talk about this. And what was great about my friend is that she kind of normalized it in her own context. Like, okay, I see similar things, I hear similar things, whatever. So I knew... And I knew enough not to, say, hey, I see a cat there. Last night I did sense there was a cat in Medline. I didn't say, hey, there's a cat, out loud. I don't say, hey, there's people sitting on your chair, even though you're sitting in the chair. There's invisible people sitting right there, yeah. So that's been how staff were with me, and so I didn't think to talk to the psychiatrist again because it seemed like I was handling it okay. But then, like I said, I'm sitting here like, okay, I need to make some sense out of this, and if it's spiritual, it's spiritual, but I need to consciously decide if that's what I want to do. Or, is it something that I can get meds for? Or what? I mean, this has to be put down someplace that I'm dealing with this, and this is how it affects me, and this is what's been going on. And my friend saved my life because, like I said, she got me to stand up to the ones that were very dark and scary. But for many other people that go through this, they don't have that, and they end up harming themselves or other people because they get these violent thoughts put into their head that aren't theirs. So how I'm going to explain it to him is, like I said, that I feel all these people around that I know aren't there, but they feel there, and they talk to me. I hear their voices outside my head. I hear their thoughts in my head.
I'll be back.
Okay. I feel them touching me, brushing up against me, hugging me, which is nice. The nice ones hug me. And then the taking over my hands and me not being aware of what's going on. And, just that I also at the same time know that this is not real, but it is. And I don't want to be juggling this whole world on top of just trying to live my life. And I think for so many months, for better or worse, for better, if I have to have this thing on top of me, I might as well have someone amazing that helps me understand it every day. And if I didn't have that, I would have been totally lost and probably in the hospital and unable to even explain myself, because that's where I was when I first, had all this happen after the panic attacks. I was getting so much information coming into me, and I couldn't make sense of it or explain it at all. And no one else could, and even when I was outwardly struggling, they still didn't really care. You have to do something big to get noticed, and then you end up in their claws so to speak. They just take over complete control once you say you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, which is horrible that it has to get to that extent. And then when you are in that vulnerable position, that they treat you like that. But anyways, I've had my friends helping me like all day, every day, sometimes, understanding what's going on, which has been huge. I mean, it's been amazing and it's been life-saving. But it hasn't been me in my normal life that I've known for all my life, just Sam, chillaxing. My thoughts are just my thoughts. My feelings are just my feelings. The things that I sense in the room are actual objects in the room. I mean, I'm great with being empathic, empath, reading people's energy, feelings, whatever, intuition. I mean, that's great. And I totally believe that, and I think a lot of my issues are because I have such a sensitivity to things. I also think brain chemistry is a part of that. So I don't think it's all or nothing, and that's what I kind of want to get with this stuff. It's like I need something along with spirituality to help with this. It's not enough for me, because I don't think, because if I had a foundation in believing in something, for many years or whatever, I think I would more easily trust this whole thing, and be like, okay, this is just my identity, whatever. But it's not, and I'm not saying I don't want it to be, but I want to make more of a choice than either believe that this is I'm psychically gifted or nothing. And I haven't gotten the other option, like another idea on what this could be, because no one is caring and no one is telling me. All I know is that other people do experience this. I mean, they take medication for it, and that's effective sometimes not. I want to know what goes on in the brain to make something unreal seem real, and then it's not real and it just goes crazy. Are we going to meds? I thought you said no.
I thought I said no too.
Yeah.
Take another minute or two.
Okay. So those are the things that I'm going to tell him, that I've been feeling these things, basically doing everything they can on a sensory level to get my attention and talk to me, and that I've been coping with it through spirituality, but that it's not enough, and that I need some kind of treatment other than the spiritual stuff. And I'm not saying diss the spiritual stuff at all. I'm saying it got me through all this. If it was just a one-off, that would be fine. I think as the months go by, just that this is continuing is difficult for me. And I just need an understanding on it. And then I can say, okay, I have blank, whatever it's called, and I'm taking whatever to deal with it. And I'm, talking to my spirit guide if that's what I want to do. But I don't want to do it all day. And that's how I feel, even with the nice ones, even with the ones that just walk around and are just sitting there. It's like, great, but I don't want to see you all day. I don't care if it's a unicorn. And, like Tamora Pierce's, like storm wings or basilisks or whatever. I don't want to see them all day. I can see them when I want to see them. And there's no off switch or turn down. And I know I'm not making it up, but it's clearly there in my mind. And so it's like, what is going on? And hopefully he can give me some ideas on that.
Okay.
So, yeah. Before I continue to repeat myself and we don't go to meds for 10 minutes, I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.
Skype. My
I need to save this.
movie. Web. Stop.